Alright, let's talk about headphones. Some of you might remember my old video where I was talking about my old Beyerdynamic DT770s, the old ones of these, how they lasted a really long time and how they are basically the best headphones that I had ever used at that time. Now, lucky for me, Beyerdynamic actually reached out and wanted to send me a new pair of headphones. But I had already bought these new DT770s, so instead I got some DT990s. And I thought I could make a small comparison video because, like many of you who have probably been debating which headphones to buy, I'm sure if you've looked at these, you have also probably looked at these, because the 770 Pros are closed headphones and the DT990s are open headphones. So we're gonna take a look at what are the differences and which ones of these would I recommend for metal mixing. Now the first thing we're gonna talk about is the difference between open and closed. In simple terms, the difference is basically how much sound is getting in and out. When I'm wearing my closed headphones, I can tell that they are really dampening the sound coming from the outside, and everything around me is pretty muffled and I'm kind of more isolated. Whereas if I'm wearing my open back DT990s, I can almost not tell that I'm wearing anything at all. It's actually kind of amazing how these things don't block any noise at all, basically. So with this on, you're gonna hear a lot more of what's going on around you, and these are also gonna send more audio out from the headphones. That has its pros and cons, and your living situation will probably be what dictates what you should buy according to this factor. If you have things that you need to keep an eye on and you're mixing while you're listening to your baby monitor or whatever, the DT990s may have an advantage there actually. Whereas if you would like to be more in your own world, the DT770s, they're almost like noise cancelling headphones because you're not that much bothered by noise around you. The next thing we're going to talk about is the comfort. These are pretty similar. The DT headphones are famous for their extraordinary comfort. These silk pads or whatever are super comfortable. You can wear them for hours on end. They don't get very hot and they don't put a lot of pressure on your head. These Beyerdynamic headphones are still the most comfortable headphones that I have ever used. When it comes to the difference between these two, I wouldn't say that there is much of a difference. I think there is maybe some different material in these ones on the padding of these, but you get them in different variations. You can buy other AirPads if you want to. Comfort is basically the same. When it comes to the durability, obviously I've had my DT770s, the last pair of these, I had them for something like 11 years and they didn't flinch at all. They just held up. It was amazing. So I am expecting my new pair to last me another 10 years or so, and I don't see a reason why the 990s shouldn't last as long, but obviously there is no way for me to judge the durability of the 990s. So perhaps the most important thing is the audio quality with these headphones. Now they are absolutely different. There are differences between closed back and open back earphones. The 770s have, in my opinion, a bit more low end, kind of a tiny bit more bass heavy. But of course describing sound is difficult, and it's not for me to just put the headphones on the microphone to make you decide for yourself. You can look up the frequency response charts if you want to nerd it out, but if you want to judge the audio quality for yourself, you're going to have to compare them for yourself. But what I can tell is that there is a slight difference in the high mid-tones compared to the 990s. It's just kind of like there is a shift in the peak of the high mid-tones, if that makes any sense to you. They sound just a tiny bit different, but not a lot different. The difference is so small that you are basically cancelling it out yourself when you're listening, and after using them for a while you don't really think about the fact that these are another pair of headphones. So I wouldn't say the audio quality difference is very big. But there is one thing that is remarkable with the 990s, and I think that is attributed to the fact that these are open back earphones. And that is the fact that when you hear something ambient in these headphones, if I'm watching a YouTube video and there are some unexpected sounds in the video, they can easily sound like they are actually happening outside my head. So there's something with the way that the open back earphones handle reverb that sounds more authentic, and things just kind of sound more real with these on. Doesn't really matter for music production, but I've found that when just casual listening, these tend to sound more real. It sounds more like you're listening to speakers than that you're actually listening through headphones. Other than that, I don't feel that there is that much of a tone difference in these, and I think that if you're debating one of these two headphones, you should think about the other factors than audio quality, because the audio quality is excellent anyways. Now, there are some things to keep in mind when deciding which headphones you want to buy. If you are recording vocals, I would absolutely recommend that you go for some closed earphones, because when you're listening to your backing track, the sound will bleed from the earphones to the microphone. It is noticeable with the DT770s, and the DT990s just send a lot more sound out, and that would make it a much bigger problem. So if you're tracking vocals, I would definitely go for the 770s. And if you are, let's say you're living in a really tight space and you're mixing in the same room as other people and you don't want to disturb them, I would also go for the 770s, because they just keep all the noise in and they don't let as much noise in. If you have your own space and that is not a concern, I would absolutely go for the 990s if audio bleed is not a concern. Just the fact that these sound a bit more real just gives it that little edge over the 770s. And I also like the fact that I can hear stuff going on around me. If something happens, then I'm not that isolated. So the conclusion for me is that the 990s are the winner. If I were to choose one of these, I would go for the 990s. And when it comes to the ohm difference, 80 ohm, 250 ohm, and so on, just choose whatever fits your sound interface. It doesn't really matter for audio quality. 770s are still a great choice, and I am absolutely keeping my 770s because it's always a good idea to reference your mixes on multiple listening devices, and also if I ever want to track some vocals with anyone, I can use my 770s. But just for mixing, absolutely go for the 990s. So that was my conclusion on which ones you should buy. If you have any other ideas or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.